Welcome to the March release webinar. I think most of you know me by now. I'm Zepf. I lead our product team. I'm excited to walk through some of this with you today, and I'm joined by Andy, who will take it away. Say a quick hello and take it away.
Hey everybody, Andy Cormier. I'm the channel chief, handle our marketplace and integration side of things here. So yeah, we're gonna roll right into what we've released over this past month. And the first one up is network discovery. So first up, we've rolled out our phase 1 of our network discovery beta, which handles the scanning and discovery aspects specifically. This feature was made available to all team plan accounts about a week ago. So the way the network discovery is going to work is through what we're calling scan profiles. Profiles are customer specific, and you can have as many profiles as you like per customer. That's really for when you've got a customer with complex networks or multiple physical locations or anything in between. You basically will define a Syncro agent on the network that's going to perform the scanning along with the CIDR notation of the range you're looking to scan, and then you can define whether or not you want this scan to run daily, or if you want to leave it unscheduled, you can just run it as ad hoc whenever you need. That's basically all the settings that you see to the right. What you're seeing on the left are the results from the various scan profiles that we've created. So on the next slide, here we're drilling into results from a very specific scan profile. You'll be able to see, some basics of these different devices in the table, like IP address, MAC ID, what OS belongs to the device. You'll also be able to see when devices were first discovered and when they were last discovered on the network as well. You'll also be able to see devices that you're physically managing already, like the first one listed there in the top row with the green manage moniker. That's my test device, and that's the Syncro agent that I'm using for my probe. So that will also show up and be identified here. And then you can drill into each individual device to grab some more detailed network information as well. And the available information is going to depend slightly on the device you're looking at. So for example, the device off on the right is a custom OS. So that's the information that we're going to show there. For like Linux and Windows devices, you'll see some more information like open ports and things like that. And then on the next slide, this is phase 2 of network discovery. So what I just described is effectively phase 1. That's what's available today. Phase 2, which is currently scheduled to roll out April 9th, right, Dee? Okay, I see Dee nodding.
Yeah.
And it's basically going to add this a subset of stuff that I have highlighted here in red. And what this is going to do is it's going to allow you to provide your domain admin credentials to deploy the Syncro agent across to the network to discovered Windows devices. And then for straight network devices, it's going to allow you to add those into Syncro as custom assets and enable SNMP monitoring for them as well. So that's everything that we're going to be doing here with network discovery. And I did make a video that goes in a bit more detail here. So I know Caitlin's going to drop that into chat in a second for folks want to watch that when they get a chance to. I do want to note that this part of the UI is displayed in phase 1. It's just inactive or inert until phase 2 rolls out. So this won't have any impact now, but this is what you'll see and how it'll work when phase 2 rolls out here in a couple weeks. Dee, I'm going to pass it off to you to talk about our new customer portal UI updates.
Absolutely. Sounds great. And before I hop into the portal updates, just a reminder for folks to please use the Q&A so that Andy and I can go through and answer. And we also have some team members behind the scenes. Lindsay and Bobby are definitely here helping us out today. And so that folks on the team can also answer questions for you. So if you use that Q&A, it'd be much easier for us than chat for sure. All right, so end user portal. Thank you to everyone who was part of our early access for this. We got some good feedback. We made some updates and we have rolled this out so it is now available to everyone. And so the UI for the portal is really streamlined. There's a nice left-hand nav. We've really cleaned it all up, made it a lot more professional, just made it a lot easier for your end users to navigate. We had already released some updates previous to this that allow you to have more customization on your logo, more custom colors. So we really feel good that you can hopefully have a portal that represents more of who you are as a business. And then if we move on and think about rolling out the end user portal, we've made it so that when you transition your end users to the new portal experience, and I have a few bullets on the next slide on this, you have a couple of different options on how you do this. So the first option is you could update the UI for all of your customer organizations, and you can just go right into account settings and do that. Caitlin, if you want to just hit the next slide for this one, that'd be great. And then the other option is you can actually preview and test this with individual customers. And so you can go into the customer settings and turn it on for one or the other. We also, we recommend, of course, communicating this with your customers before you roll it out, and your end users before you roll it out. So you can use our email campaign feature to do that, or any way you'd like to email. In our doc center, we have full instructions on how to do this so that you can roll this out on your own timeline, test it out, whatever you'd like to do to get that rolled out to your clients. And with that, I'm going to hand it back to Andy to talk a little bit about mobile updates.
Yeah, and really quick, guys, before we tap this, I saw a couple questions coming up. People asking, "Hey, I'm on the core plan. I'd like to test out the team plan to try out network discovery." So if you've never been on the team plan trial before from a core plan account, you can spin up a trial now and begin testing that out. If you have, when this goes live April 9th, we are going to be resetting everybody's trial state with team plans, so you can roll into another trial again if you wanted to try that out. So that is coming for everybody. That was a good question. Yeah, so back to the mobile app. So we've consistently, since we released our mobile app, releasing incremental improvements each month, and we've got a few more to talk about this month as well. So we added some quick links around the app for things like click to call, click to open the address in your default Maps application, as well as some copy and pastable fields. These updates went live for both iOS and Android earlier this month. And then directly behind this, we're working on a new update that's going to bring contacts into the app as well. So that would include things like contact searching, contact creation, associated contacts with specific tickets, or changing the contact assigned to a specific ticket, things like that. So that's everything to do with the mobile app. Dee, I'm going to pass it back to you to talk about our new ticket page redesign.
We've had the ticket page redesign in beta for a while. For folks that have not had an opportunity to take a look at it, you can turn the new page design on or off right in your ticket settings. And so, here's a screenshot of the design. I think there are probably almost 1,000 different partners out there that are running the new design. And then we've had some folks that have turned it on and then turned it back off again. And I'll talk a little bit about that. But new design, left-hand nav. So it remembers if your left-hand nav is open or closed. It allows you to adjust your columns. It allows you to easily sort, filter, a bunch of new capability in here that we've covered. And there are videos on this and documentation, or you can just turn it on and check it out. I do know, and I have some updates on the next slide around some of the feedback we've gotten from folks that have used this. We do have a team that is continuing to work through this page to try to make sure it's an optimal experience for everybody. And so we've updated a handful of things on the ticket page since release last month. And so we now automatically refresh the page anytime there's a new or any sort of update to a ticket. We're displaying custom field values appropriately. We're allowing you to adjust your column widths and make them much smaller or bigger, and then retain those adjusted widths as you go. We also remember if the left panel was open or closed when you were back on the page. The big update that we're working on, and quite honestly, it's taking a little longer than I hoped it would, is we are tuning the performance of the page. I'm expecting that very soon we'll have some really significant performance updates. We were hearing from folks, especially with long ticket lists where there's a lot of scrolling, or you're doing grouping and a lot of scrolling, that there were some performance issues. And so we have reproduced that, and we are close to rolling out a fix for that. And so, feel free to check back. In our doc center, in the release updates area, we'll typically put even mid-month when we release updates like this behind the scenes. And so you can always check in there if you want to see if we've released anything new, or you can, once again, you can just turn it on, try it out, and then you can always turn it back off again if it ends up being not quite ready for what you need it for yet. All right. And then we're going to talk through early access. I think is coming up next. So I'm going to walk through a few features that are in early access. So everything we talked about is generally available either in beta format or in full format. And now I'll talk through some of the early release items. So first up on the list for early release is ticket metric standardization. And so we are starting early access on this week. And so thanks to folks that signed up to help us out. And this project, as a reminder, is really just to standardize the way we're measuring ticket metrics across the platform. We've gotten a lot of feedback that, we can't have these numbers mean different things in different places, and we need to look at business hours. And so we have gotten a lot of input into how we're calculating these. And so we're looking forward to getting this in your hands so we can get some feedback on this project in the really, really short term. Next up on the early access list is a project that we have been working on to really redesign and update the contacts section of the site. And also, as part of the design changes, you're going to see us roll throughout the product. You'll see we have this new table, and we're really doing a lot to try to make sure that the information you need is really at your fingertips. And so this full redesign of contacts, we're also renaming it to end users because it's going to be about way more than just contact information. Today it's a list of contacts with addresses and emails, where you'll see us kind of really expand on this both now and over time. And so the new design is going to solve a lot of issues that we've heard from all of you. So first, we're using the new standard table, which is going to allow you to select which columns you display. It's going to allow you to easily sort and filter based on those columns, as all tables will. The columns that'll be available to you out of the gate are like email address, phone number, location, any custom contact fields, and associated assets. And the associated assets field, if an asset is linked to that end user, it's going to display right on the page, and then you're going to be able to actually click the link to just go right to the asset from here. So kind of one of the ways we're going to start to really just improve kind of quick navigation around the site, while being able to keep the context and not have to kind of go hunting around to find what you're looking for. We are also adding on the next slide a new separate user details page. And so when you click into an end user, you'll now see a separate page. And part of the benefit of having a separate page is that it's going to make it much easier for us to link you to a specific user. So from common places where you might just want to hop into a user, maybe you're in a ticket and you want to link into a user, maybe you're in an invoice and you want to link over into a user. So any place you're going to want to quickly access user details, this is going to give us a nice landing page to kind of bring you back and forth easily and make that whole process a lot more seamless. The quick navigate will likely follow on a few weeks after the initial redesign, but we designed it kind of with that in mind. That was the general idea. And then so on this page, you'll see kind of all of your customer information and, ability to look at enabling the portal, all the different fields you can edit. So we've cleaned it all up, made it a lot more standard, a lot easier to work with. And then the other thing you'll notice on this page, in the lower left-hand corner, you'll see we have Microsoft user details. And this leads me to the next slide and the next project, which is
Really quick, sorry. If you could go back 1 second, Caitlin, I want to call something else out too. I get asked this probably 3 times a week. And so I just want to point this out where it says associated assets in the bottom right for contacts. This is exactly what you guys think it is. This is showing every asset assigned to this specific contact. And I know you guys have wanted that forever. So this is like cool in and of itself. And then that's just like an extra bonus item I wanted to call out because I know how much folks have been after that one. Sorry to interrupt there.
Yeah, no worries. We've heard a lot of these, and I know that one in particular is a pain point. So thanks for calling that out. Entra ID Sync. And so the Entra ID Sync is really an upgrade. This exists today. It's a team plan feature that exists today, and we are We are essentially upgrading this capability. We've redesigned and really rewritten our Entra ID sync. So we're using the Microsoft API directly to do this sync now. You're going to be able to connect either your individual tenant or your entire CSP. And at a high level, we're just going to give you a lot more control over what's included in the sync and how it syncs. So some more details around this. So it really solves a lot of the pain points you all were talking about with the existing sync. So the syncs will be hourly instead of daily. So there's going to be a sync that happens every hour. The end users are going to be pulled based on additional criteria. You can see on the screen on the right-hand side, there's a bunch of different criteria. Now, it used to be just department and user type, but now you can do groups or domain or office location or any number of things that are on the Microsoft side to make it so you can have a lot more granularity around what you're bringing over. Any users that you disable on the Microsoft side of the house are going to be disabled. They'll show as disabled in Syncro, and you can easily filter them out of your end user list. So you're not going to be kind of cluttered with, the disabled users from the Microsoft side. And then as well, we used to only sync over like one Microsoft license for a user. And I think as everyone knows, users oftentimes have more than one Microsoft license. And so that's something we've accommodated for. So we're actually going to be syncing over a more extensive list of Microsoft licenses and more than one license per user. So basically, we're going to allow you to sync all users from Microsoft, no manual effort. So whether you're creating a new customer, or just making updates, whenever you add, edit, disable a user in Microsoft, those associated changes are just going to reflect right over into Syncro. The other thing you'll see is you're also going to be able to associate several Syncro customer organizations with like one Microsoft tenant, if that's the way you've structured your environment. And I know a lot of folks have. And so we've set it up so it's going to be pretty straightforward and easy for you to be able to do that. And so you'll be syncing, kind of the relevant parts of your Microsoft tenant into the different Syncro customers. And then the final piece of this, and kind of the icing on the cake, is you're also going to be able to easily bill your customers, right, for their usage of these Microsoft licenses, right? So the licenses are going to be essentially associated with those Syncro end users, and then all the fields in that Syncro end user record can be easily used for invoicing in Syncro. Once again, you're going to see all this roll out kind of like over weeks, but that's essentially the project in a nutshell. All right, so lots of words around that. But with that, let me hand it back over to Andy. And quick reminder before I do, if you have questions, pop them in the Q&A. We're going to do our darn best to go through all of them and answer them in the webinar. And then I will hand it to Andy to talk a little bit more about upcoming roadmap.
Yeah, and I just wanted to take a minute and thank everybody for all the feedback we've got. Now that Dee's got this early access program rolled out and working very well, we're regularly doing this with new features as they're coming out. Your guys' feedback has been awesome. Like, we are definitely virtually everything that you saw there in the Azure piece, or the Entra piece rather, has come from your all feedback. So everything that you guys provide to us, we definitely take to heart, and we just really want to make everything work for you all. So thank you again for everybody who's really been providing awesome feedback during all those EA programs that we've got going. So, Dee and I talked about the bulk of this already, but I'm going to cover a few things that are in progress that we haven't gone over. And before I do, just a quick reminder for folks that our public roadmap is right on our website for you guys to review anytime you like. So it's going to cover both what's in progress and then everything that we've got on deck as well. So on the next slide, first up is our Windows patching dashboard. This one is really exciting. This is basically what's coming for everybody. Brand new Windows patching dashboard. This one's currently in early access. It is currently full, but we'll let folks know if that changes for any reason between now and release. So within this view, you're going to clearly be able to determine your overall compliance in regard to what percentage of your fleet is fully patched. Now, the definition of fully patched is going to be determined by your aggregate policy settings, meaning if you've blocked a KB for a number of endpoints, or for all endpoints if need be, that's not going to count against your compliance score. You said this is okay. If this is not installed, then we're going to go by what you've determined within your individual patch policies. In the middle section, you can see a breakdown of missing patches by status. And then you can also click into any of those individual sections, and it's automatically going to filter the list of patches in the bottom half of the dashboard for you automatically. So that'll happen in the middle section. In the top right section, this is broken down by workstations and servers, and then further broken down by severity. Then you can also drill into any one of these and get a list of the KBs and endpoints that qualify automatically in that below table as well. And then again, the bottom is basically a live representation of all the data at the top. So you'll be able to click the cogwheel up there at the top, and you'll be able to adjust the data here. So for instance, you could filter by customer, for example, and then the below data would filter specifically to that customer. It's also using the updated table UI that Dee was talking about. I'm usually not super into like awesome UI. That's just a me thing. I am super into this table because you can do all sorts of really cool things with it. So inline filtering, sorting, grouping against about anything that you'd like to see. So if you want to group it by a particular KB and then see all the endpoints that need that KB under it, you can easily do that. You'll of course be able to select individual KBs or endpoints and all the KBs that need to be installed for that particular endpoint, and deploy them ad hoc right from this screen as well. If you wanted to do that outside of your patch policy, perfectly possible. So next up, we've got some enhancements to our ticket timers. These are some nice improvements to how we handle timers inside of Syncro. It's not as flashy as the patching dashboard. This one takes a lot of the smaller items that we've heard your feedback around and kind of tries to hit them all in one shot. So you all should see some significant improvements in how you're going to interact with our timers moving forward. So first, we've retooled this entire section so it's easier to read, and the controls are now in places that make a little bit more sense across the board. The current time entry is going to show the total time running for this timer only, not an aggregate for all time allocated to the ticket. This was a change that we made at Syncro going back a couple months, and we heard your feedback on this one, and it just didn't go over well, and everybody's saying, now we want this just to be a standard timer control. So we are reverting that to match what you all wanted. So stopping this timer will revert that back to 0. So there's just basically no active timer at that point. And then the big one that's been requested for a long time now, I have to say, this is probably the first one of these release webinars where we're like tackling something that I hear about from folks like 5-6 times a week. So I'm really glad that we're kind of nailing all these things up front. But it's the ability to add notes to an active timer as it's running. You don't have to do it up front. You could just add them as you're actively working the ticket. And then this line will automatically expand as you carriage return to press the enter key. So you can have real detailed notes now, and this will just keep expanding as you add more and more. So I know that's a flow that a lot of you have requested, and we're happy that we're finally bringing this one to fruition. And then at the bottom, you're also now going to see running totals for both actual time and billable time, which is one of my personal favorites. Just being able to quickly see this at a glance is hugely valuable, especially on real lengthy or complex tickets. And then on the next slide, this is the labor log. We are also overhauling this as well. It's going to be much simpler to work with, and now it's a lot easier to see what's been charged, what's left to be charged, what you've already invoiced, easy toggles to toggle billable time on and off. And again, we've got your totals both for actual time and billable time here as well. And we heard from folks that had very complex tickets that had just a ton of time entries on these tickets. It could be a ticket that's being worked over the course of a couple days. We've added pagination when that applies. So you'll be able to, you're not going to have a giant list anymore. You can easily paginate and see, but these totals will reflect everything that you're seeing across all of those pages. So that's everything that's currently in progress. And we're going to talk about what's up next. So next up, we've got our unified ticket view. This is just going to be a new default ticket view that we're adding for everybody. And this is going to give you access to a view that was previously not possible. It's going to encompass all of your assigned and subscribed tickets into a single view, as well as unassigned tickets as well, if need be. So previously, you could only choose one of those 3 things in a single view. And this has been a real popular request as well for users for a while now. So that's coming. And then well, I'm telling you, we're hitting so many of our top feature requests here. I love this so much. One of the ones that I just get whacked with constantly is the ability to archive assets. Like, you guys have wanted that for a long time. It's always been a missing feature within Syncro. That's basically when you retire an endpoint, but you want to keep the history intact, all of the things that you did with it, and you might be replacing it, but you still want to have that context for that old endpoint. But of course, you don't want that showing up in your list. You don't want it showing up in your reports, clogging up things. So we are adding that. That is coming. And yes, I am telling you, I'm just as excited for this one as I know you all are. That one's been a long time coming. And then the last one here is the mobile app, the contact update that I'd already gone over. So that's all the roadmap updates we have for you guys today. We're going to move into Q&A. And as Dee was mentioning, for folks that aren't familiar with our Q&A format, if this is your first time at one of these webinars, just use the Q&A control in Zoom to ask your questions. That's where we're going to be picking up your questions from. And Dee, I'm just pulling up the Q&A now. So if you've got anything loaded, feel free to knock those off.
Yeah, for sure. I'm happy to get this started and answer a few questions. First, and it came up a few times, which is, can folks test out the team plan in order to check out network discovery? And so the answer is yes. We are going to make that available to y'all early in April when the second phase of that goes live. And so you'll see we'll have right in product. We'll probably do some sort of notification right in product for you to let you know that that's available for you. And so you can just click through if you wanted to do a 14-day team plan trial when that comes out. And so absolutely. And then I think another question on the new portal. And so there's a question around, is there a guest feature for the new portal UI so that you can see what the portal looks like as if you're the customer? The answer is we do not have the guest capability today, but I have heard that from a couple of folks. And so it's something we can absolutely look into for you. And then maybe I'll take one or two more, Andy, and then hand it back over to you. Maybe you'll grab a few. So this one is a question around network discovery. If I do a scan while I'm connected wired and then do another scan while I'm connected to Wi-Fi, is it going to detect that as the same asset or different assets? We're just using the MAC address to identify these, so I can't imagine the situation in which you'd get different MAC addresses back based on those two different types of scans. So it should be the same device that comes back to you.
I've got a bunch of network discovery questions, which is great. Pete's asking in the network discovery devices list, other than manage, is there any other indication of what machine is the probe? Might be useful to note. Pete, no. However, we were just talking about this question in the background, and I'm pretty sure that's going to be something we add because that's a great suggestion. It makes total sense. So I would expect to see that one based on the comments I'm seeing here in the background. Mike is asking, when do devices roll off out of the scan? So as of today, they don't, but we are going to be adding some things to show you. Here's all the new things that are available since the last time this scanned. So you can easily get to like, hey, this is something new on the network I need to know about versus the other things that are basically known on the network already. Steve's asking, when will the SNMP assign OID recipes to start collecting data? So I was just talking about this one too with the product folks in the background. So it sounds like when we have phase 2 live in a couple weeks, when you go to add a non-Windows agent, obviously we'll deploy the Windows agent if it's a Windows device, but a network device, you'll be like, I want to add this as a custom asset in Syncro. It's like, great, is this SNMP enabled? Yes. And then it'll list SNMP OID recipes if you have any preloaded, and then you'll be able to populate it that way. Otherwise, you'll be able to set one up manually. So that's a good question. I learned something new there myself. Gary's asking, for network discovery, how often does the agent check in? And will it alert if a new device connects to the network, or would you have to rerun the scan for changes? If so, can you script schedule scans? You can't script the schedule scans. If you schedule it, it will check in once a day. I know the notification piece is not in there today, but it's something that we're talking about on the back end. And I totally understand the request because in my mind, once you've got the network the way you want it, you really just want to know exceptions that pop onto the network. So I'll mention that to the product folks. Like I said, they're on this call, so they're hearing this as well. Is there any plan, Dee, I think we'll tag team this one. Is there any plan to transition the network discovery feature to more of a network monitoring solution with near real-time alerts similar to Domots? I think I would say, and check me on this, Dee, but I think for network discovery that the focus is going to be on, letting you know when something comes on the network that you want to know about, allowing you to automatically deploy something over a probe, allowing you to quickly scan a network that you have for like a new customer, bring all those devices into Syncro as custom assets. I think when it comes to, I mean, we'll always be making incremental improvements to that, but I think when it comes to like heavy duty monitoring, I mean, very heavy duty, like network mapping and all that stuff that you're going to see in a Domots, we tend to partner with folks like that when you need something extra. So we do have Domots is actually one of our best integrations, by the way, if you haven't seen that. They've got a really nice integration. So we think we'll probably partner for stuff like that. But Dee, if you see us going deeper with this, let me know.
Yeah, no, I think that's absolutely right, right? There's a specialty solution like in Domots for that deep network monitoring. The things will be trying to make it super easy for you to see when new things come onto your network, when things go off your network. We're going to make it easy to install agents, make it easy to see when there's a problem installing agents, because I know making sure you have agents on all those machines is critical. Part of the process. And then, so we're really focused there. We'll also be looking at also enhancing our SNMP monitoring for you as well. And so we'll be doing some more work there. But I think Andy's right. There's a point where it might make sense if you really want that deep network monitoring to move to a solution like Domots.
Just
I had one question, like a
oh yeah, go
more
ahead.
question on network discovery, which was how do I enable it? Someone was like, "Hey, I'm on team plan. I don't see this thing. How do I enable it?" And so I'll give you the short answer and then the longer answer. So short answer is go into your tab customization and you'll see there's a new checkbox there. You can just turn on the tab for network discovery, or inside of any of your customer organizations, there's a little tab right there to see it as well. And so those would be the places to go for that. In general, anytime you have something like that, the little question mark icon, our doc center is fully up to date with the latest and greatest on network discovery, how it works, what the fields mean, what the steps you need to go through are. We try to make sure with every single release now that we're coming out both with video and documentation to kind of step you through all of that as well. So if you're ever, sitting there going, where do I find this thing? It's always a great place to start your search. All righty, and then there was a question here about Entra cross-referencing with existing users. And so I'm not sure I fully was talking about like from a network agent. And so we will take a look if we're syncing up Entra ID users, and we will match them based on email address. And so if you're pulling over someone with a matching email address, we're not going to duplicate those users. We will acknowledge those as the same user. And please re-ask if that didn't answer the question in a realistic way. So another one, are there any plans to allow Syncro to manage and push out feature updates for Windows? Continuing to enhance our patching and move beyond into, feature updates and improving our third-party patching are definitely things you're going to see us kind of continue to march down the path of enhancing patching across the board. It's something I've heard loud and clear from all of you on both the surveys I've run and in a bunch of conversations. So yes, I don't have timing on it, and so it's not on our public roadmap yet, but it is something that you will see appear on the public roadmap. Like hopefully, well, I'll say this year. I won't give timing, but all right, great. There's another question of how do you check which plan you're actually on? So in the admin section of the app, you can go into your account settings, and then in manage account, it shows you which plan you're on there. Oh, another question here. Oh, this is another network discovery question. Is the severity based on the Oh, sorry. No, must have been on the patching dashboard. Sorry. Is severity based on the CVE score? Was the question. We are not basing severity on the CVE score, but we are basing it off of a Microsoft setting that we're getting in through Microsoft. It's one of the ways they denote it.
Mike's asking a random question. It would be nice to auto-assign display assets when a ticket is opened via the picked user. Yeah, that's a really good suggestion. I've heard that one before, Mike. I think once we do the work, the update to the contact stuff where it's easy for us to show all of the endpoints associated with a specific customer, I think, or with a contact rather, I think I'd like to see that as well. Lindsay, I know you're in the background, or Bobby, whichever. Let me know if that's something we have planned to do, because I think that does make sense. And Mike, if you want to just pop a follow-up question in here, because I'm curious, if there's like 3 or 4 endpoints that somebody happens to be associated with, like home, workstation, office laptop, would you want all of them to appear on every ticket? Because that would also associate tickets where it might look like an endpoint has a problem and it really doesn't. So it's not hard to do either. I'm just curious how you would envision that being done.
I can grab the next one here.
Sure.
So this one is network discovery, basically talking about if you have a network that's a segmented network for 3 different departments, how are we going to show all those networks in the system? And I'm pretty sure the best way you would handle this is we've created the concept of a discovery profile. And that's where you kind of put in the constraints of the scan. And so I think for that client, you might want to have 3 different profiles. And have one for each department, and then just specify the dedicated range for each of those. So that way you can get back all of the devices that you want across the segments of the network. Next question is, can we get some additional granular controls for global admins? There's a little bit of like hesitancy to sign a tech with helping to fine tune Syncro because you need to hand over all of admin. I think anything in and around like permissions and global controls is something that I do want to address, and I'm hoping that we get to address later this year. And so you'll see more coming on the roadmap. There is nothing in plan right now today that's happening beyond me knowing that we need to do this, and the team is kind of planning for it. But more to come. We will be doing a lot more around permissions and making sure we give you more granularity for both your internal folks inside of Syncro, as well as a bunch of different co-managed situations. I've talked to a lot of you around your different needs and requirements there. So more to come on that front later.
Gary's asking, for Windows patching, can you deny certain updates, for example, printer drivers? So yes and no. If you have the KB, you can block the KB at the policy level. You can also block the KB at the global level. And then from a category or a severity, security severity, you can block those categories as well. So you could block drivers. There's no way to inherently say block every print driver because that's in the drivers category. But if you knew a specific KB, you could block it that way. So depending on what you're looking to do, you should be able to block most everything. Josh is asking, what about a way to view a full log of scripts that ran instead of a message the output was truncated due to the size too large? I don't think we'll be expanding that specifically. And that's normally when, there's other ways to handle that. If you guys wanted to, you could put it in a file, like a text file or something, and upload it to the endpoint. But if it gets truncated, that's usually like a massive output. So we don't have a way right now to display all of that. But let me know if you think it's truncating too. It should be a whole lot of data you can see before it truncates. I'd be shocked if it wasn't. Do we have any plans there that you know about to expand that? I think, yeah, okay.
Yeah, I'm not sure of anything there, so I don't want to overspeak.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah, great. I can grab one. So this is a network discovery question as well. Does the Syncro agent that becomes the network probe use a separate executable, or is it just part of the agent itself? And so the network probe is part of the agent itself. We rolled that out in our agent update version, I have it written down, 1.0.187. And so it's in that agent update, and we rolled that out. The next question is around patching and patch reporting, basically asking, are we enhancing our reporting and kind of moving beyond kind of the block style reports or just a CSV report? And we know there's a lot we can do to enhance reporting. For the short term, we have added a new block. And so we've added a compliance block into the report. So you'll actually be able to see that as part of it. We are going to be looking at, future improvements in reports, but for today, in report builders, you'll see this new compliance block when the patching dashboard is released.
Mike's asking, are you planning to enumerate the MAC addresses such as manufacturing items? So to a degree we are. I don't know if you saw it on the slide that we had. When you drill into any particular device, we will pull the vendor. We got the feedback already, so it's a good question. We are moving that into a column in the table so you can see that as well, because it will help you identify what the device is. But we are doing some of that today, yes. And then Charles is asking, the asset archiving is great. What about users? Yeah, like for contacts, that's a good question. Bobby or Rob in the background, if you know if that's something we're looking at, I know we do have the ability to archive customers now assets. I would think contacts would be somewhere around the corner. For right now, the stopgap, especially if you're using those to bill, you could add a custom field to it and just put them as active or inactive and then filter that over. But that's a good question. I'll find out for you guys.
Another question here is around Entra ID is will we be adding the ability to sync an on-site Microsoft Active Directory? And the answer to that is right now there is no plan for us to look at on-site AD. We are really purely focused on Entra ID and cloud. All right, and then where do we enable the new end user portal for our users? And so that is really depending on if you want to enable it for everyone, it's right in account settings. And if you want to enable it for an individual customer, you can go into customer settings. Once again, if you can't find that, if you just go into the Doc Center from the little question mark and search for the end user portal, you'll see full instructions with a click by click if you have any issue finding that. Next question is around the iOS app. And so it's basically asking, is there any plan for us to fix notifications in the iOS app? And I'm going to answer this and then I'm going to ask Bobby in the background to shout me out if I'm wrong and type it. But I don't believe we have open cases around iOS notifications or broad issues with iOS notifications. And so I'd like to just make sure that there's a support case in on this, and then I'm going to have Bobby follow up with me. But I'm not aware of anything that is a broad-based issue with iOS notifications. So if you're seeing it, like, let us know because, I'm under the impression that it's working for folks. I think we had several thousand people use the app in the last week alone. And so I really feel like if there were any broad issue, we would have heard it. So I'm concerned maybe it's a one-off issue that we could look into.
Mike's given some clarity. He's saying yes. It would be really good to have all assets under an assigned ticket for a particular contact. So I'm actually curious about this one for folks. If you just want to email me directly, because this sounds like something we'll likely do. Just let me know if that's something that you'd like. It sounds like the folks are saying they want to see all endpoints. If that's the case, let me know. For us, we can go either way. Doug, hey Doug. Doug's asking, network discovery, MAC addresses are different per network adapter whether Ethernet or Wi-Fi. Can we have a way to prevent multiple devices being detected for a single asset? I don't think, well, okay, so this is really going to depend because we're looking at other things also, not just the MAC ID. So if you put Wi-Fi on the same network, it should not show up more than once. If the Wi-Fi is moving over to a different network that the probing agent can't see, you would theoretically need to have a different scan profile to pick that up. Lindsay, if there's any other details on that one that you want to add, just send that to me and I'll make mention of that here.
Great. I also got another one on network discovery, which is someone saying they tested it out. It seems really cool. There's one issue they're having where they're seeing active endpoints showing up as non-managed devices. And we believe that might be because it's maybe the endpoints is actually associated with a different customer than the one you've created that network profile for. If that's not the case, if you don't have a mismatch between the network profile customer and the endpoint itself, if you want to reach out to support, we'll have them look into it because that shouldn't be happening.
Craig's asking, will there ever be an option to run a script as administrator in addition to logged in user and system? Craig, can you clarify what you mean? Because system should have all the rights to run it. I mean, that effectively is, admin plus. So I'm kind of curious what you're trying to do that you couldn't do today. You should be able to do whatever you want running it as system today. So just ask a follow-up question on that one. For network discovery, I'm assuming we can schedule network discovery periodically. Yep, if you schedule it, it would happen daily. I believe you can set the time on that. Can we set up alerting for new devices scanned? Yeah, so Lindsay, this is like the second or third time I've seen this one. So I think we'll definitely look at that because obviously people are asking about that. I think it's a good follow-up and yeah, I agree on that one. Is there an early access for the Windows patching dashboard? Juice, there is, but it's currently full. So that's one I mentioned prior. If it does come out that we need more folks in that, we will definitely open that up for more people.
I have a question from Anonymous just asking, are there any new RMM features coming in the next 6 months? And so I'm gonna, I think, looking at a patching dashboard, looking at archiving assets, looking at even just adding user management and user pages, like these all feel like they're in the RMM category for me. If there's something even network discovery, and so if there's something specific you're looking for, let us know for sure. But we're trying to be pretty balanced, and we're trying to really respond to top things we're hearing, both, like I said, from our surveys, from all your conversations, if you're having conversations with anyone from our team, and if you're using that in product feedback link. And some of those pieces of feedback are bigger projects that we, kind of putting on the roadmap, talking about here. We've also spun up and started working on, a lot of both bug fixes as well as some quality of life, fixes. And so we have a team that's really focused in on and how do we get some of the smaller things done so we can, make those linkages for you as well. So once again, we have the product feedback link. Please feel free to use it if there are things that you want to see. I read everyone. I think everyone on my team does. We send it all to a shared channel so we can all look at it. And so we are listening and trying to prioritize really based on what we hear from all of you.
Anonymous user saying, we've noticed that when creating a profile for network discovery, there's no filtering per customer. So I don't know which of the 20 DC1s I'm assigning the profile to. Yeah, I mean, when you create the profile, you will put the customer in. So that part shouldn't be confusing. But it sounds like you're asking if we could put the customer maybe in the table where you're seeing all the profiles across. Is that currently in the table, D, or no?
There is a customer column in the table, and then you can just filter on the customer column in the table.
Yeah, okay. That's what I
So
thought. So, yeah, let us know if we're missing that question.
yeah.
Don just has a comment. Very much looking forward to the ability to categorize assets as in use and inventory, retired and repair, etc. Yeah, you and me both, Don. Love that. Mike saying, is there a way to mass deploy network discovery versus touching 300 customers? There's not, but that's also, I'm going to say, by design, because you would need to determine what you specifically want to scan for using that CIDR notation. So if you have multiple networks on there and you need to have different Syncro agents acting as probes for different sites belonging to the same customer, different departments that might be on different subnets or whatever, or if you can cover it all with a specific CIDR notation, like you would need to physically define that. That should be the same with most any network discovery apps that you'd use out there.
I got a question in from Aaron basically saying all these new features are great. I know of another platform that was all in one per technician and they raised their rates dramatically. Is there any expectation of this from Syncro? We are not planning to raise your prices for these plans in a significant way. I mean, I think you are hearing some pushback from folks on some features being in team plan. We are trying to be really balanced and keep an affordable plan while also being able to invest in like new features that are expensive to build and run. And so we're trying to keep that balance for folks that are more price sensitive so that we do have a lower cost plan available. And so we're doing our best to try to hit both of those. All right. Oh, the other one I wanted to answer live was any roadmap plans for a Linux agent for Syncro. This is something I absolutely would like to see us do. I don't have it on the public roadmap today, but it is something that is on the short list of things that we have heard and will be investigating how we make that happen.
Question about the background tools. Is there ever a way that we're going to be able to access other nodes? Like, I think you're talking about like putty or that kind of stuff. I would probably say no, and that's probably where we'd have like the line of demarcation. And again, D, check me if I'm wrong on this, but really we want to go as far as what we're showing here with incremental improvements post that. But if you really need like deep monitoring and the mapping and the remoting directly into a network device, stuff like that, we would normally partner with somebody. And like I said, right now we are recommending Domots. That's the one that we have a very, very good integration with going forward.
Yeah.
And then Brian's asking, did the team plan have a minimum number of members? If you mean, do you need like a minimum number of users to sign up for the team plan? You don't. Minimum of one.
I got a question around Google Workspace and would we consider doing something similar for Google as for Entra ID? For today, there aren't that many folks that have been looking for us to do things in and around Google. There's a predominant, there's a really big push, especially on the survey. I went through all the responses, and one of the top 10 items that came in was dealing with Microsoft and managing Microsoft. I think it was like number 6 on the things that people wanted us to do. And so we're going to keep our eyes and ears open. So I won't say never, but Google is not on our short list today.
We're going to take just a couple more here. Craig's asking about a log me in integration. I would say that's probably not something we'll look at this year. We do have, if you want to just BYO Splashtop from the business side, obviously we include Splashtop for quarantine plan users. But if you want to have your own dedicated instance, we have integrations with Screen Connect, integrations with TeamViewer. Log me in. I've heard a lot of comments, I'll just say to be nice, about the pricing and the changes they did a couple years ago. So there hasn't really been a lot of interest from folks. So I'd probably say no, but I'll say never say never. Last one I'll take from me is Mike's asking, in network discovery profile setup, why is there a policy folder? That's a good question. So when we enable phase 2, you're going to put in your domain admin credentials, and that will automatically deploy the Syncro agent to other Windows devices that are detected on the network that don't have it. That would basically say, I want to put it into this folder. If you don't say that, we wouldn't know where to put it in your policy inheritance structure. So you may just want to put it at your top level folder and sort it out later. You may have a very specific place you want it to go to automatically deploy, like Bitdefender or whatever else you have going on. So you'll be able to dictate that on a per scan basis.
Great. Hey, I want to, just take a minute and thank you all so much for taking the time to spend with us today and walk through this. As always, we are here to, take your input, answer your questions. Happy to do this every month. And then in between, there's the product feedback link and other avenues into us. And so feel free to give us feedback. Thank you to anyone who's testing out early access. And giving us feedback on it and helping us to improve, and more to come next month. So we appreciate your time.
Yeah, we'll see you all next month.